It is beautiful. Actually, this is the scene of The Mist 2. That is, at any moment, we expect the large dragonfly-looking things to be coming out of that mist. But as of now, we'll keep broadcasting until they start hammering on the windows. That's about where we're at right now. Live shot of Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
Set of The Mist. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. This is our daily show here from Digital Trends, bringing you the tech topics of the day, trending topics. We've got interviews. We've got all kinds of things for you, broadcasting live across all of our different platforms, meaning we can take your comments and questions as they come through, so make sure you drop those in there. Hello to Raymond, hello to Brian, hello to Vicky. That's all on Facebook.
Hello, Internet.
And we've got a lot more comments coming through as well, so drop those in. Let's kind of give you a rundown of what we have on the show today. It is an action-packed episode of Digital Trends Live. I'm Greg Nibbler. I'm here in Portland, Oregon, and we're going to be going to our New York studio here in just a few minutes, probably about 20 minutes or so, and we're going to be joined by Jeremy Kaplan, our editor-in-chief, who's going to be interviewing a guy by the name of Pierre Nibar. So Pierre is the one of the founders of a company named O-Garden. And what O-Garden does is basically they make it so you can grow plants and actual harvest vegetables straight from your living room. So it's a really cool product. It's really cool to look at. We're going to be talking to him about his product. So that's coming up here in just a little bit when we head to our New York studio. Then we'll come back to Portland. We'll be interviewing Netta Shalgi. Netta is the founder of a company called Giro. Giro is rethinking the way our luggage works. It's kind of one of those things where I think we've all thought about how we hate having to, when you can't carry on something, when you have to actually put something in luggage, that sucks. Well, Netta is rethinking that, how that works, and how to kind of get around some of those things, all using technology. We'll have Netta explain that here in a little bit. And Drew Prindle, our emerging technologies editor, is going to be joining us to talk about something that's kind of rethinking the Segway. Yes, the Segway, but rethought, and that's just kind of an analogy. This is not a product from Segway, but it's called the Kiwano KO1 rideable device. I attempted to ride it today. I was not successful. Drew was successful. We'll talk to him about everything about this product, so that's all coming up here as well. Like I said, I'm Greg Nibbler, here in studio right now with Luke Larson.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm never going to try that rideable thing.
Yeah.
I refuse.
I tried it, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't know why it's not working now, but it wasn't me. It was somebody else.
You didn't injure yourself, though. That's good.
No, not really. No, I think I'm okay, but mentally, yes, it's going to take years to get over that. Obviously, I wasn't writing it correctly. But Drew will be in here to talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. All right, we need to get to some tech headlines. So as usual, in the morning, we kind of go over what's trending, what people are talking about the most, which changes throughout the day. But right now, it seems that a lot of people are focused on Apple's March 25th event. So on March 25th, Apple is going to be having an event where, generally speaking, they're going to make some announcements about products, you would think, but it sounds like this is going to lean more towards services, their service side of things. In particular, one thing being their long-term goal of creating something that's basically called the Netflix of news. And what this would be, it would be an aggregation service. You'd pay a subscription, and you get access to all kinds of journalistic outputs wherever they are. So it's an interesting prospect, a couple of things to go through with it, and then we're going to discuss it. And I want to get Luke's opinion, too, being a journalist, how he feels about this. The idea right now, what's being reported, is that Apple is negotiating with these various news outlets, say like New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and what Apple wants is 50% off the top of the subscription fees. So meaning they'll take the news, aggregate them, send you this app that you subscribe to. I think they're guessing maybe $10 a month. Apple would take instantly $5 of that. And then the rest of it would be divvied up among the news outlets. And the news outlets are not very happy about this, kind of understandably so. Revenues are tough anyway when you're any kind of a journalistic output, just during, especially being on digital. But taking 50% off the top is not something that a lot of people are very keen on. Luke, let me ask you, what do you think of this service and just in general, and then maybe about that pricing structure?
Yeah, it comes at an interesting time. I mean, I think probably a really important time, this kind of whole thing. Like this past year has been a rough year for media in general. I mean, we all know about like a lot of the big media companies, the mass layoffs, the revenue problems. It's been a big thing, and so I think this comes at a moment where both Apple thinks that it needs this, and I think it thinks that the media industry needs this right now.
Yeah.
Like this, it needs another place where it can, 50% of the revenue isn't. And I think from what I was reading, it was saying that it kind of works like Spotify in that in this case, the publisher, where it would be the artist, gets some of the money based on like how long people are actually reading the articles, in the same way that an artist would get it per play or whatever it is. So
so however many people are reading it, that's your share of the revenue. That's your
right.
chunk.
So it's not So yeah, it's an interesting idea. It's a new kind of like thing that hasn't really been attempted or done on the scale before. The real question I have is just like, would people actually? Because the thing with streaming services is it actually offers you something that you can't get anywhere else. And that's why people are willing to pay for it. Strange concept that people would be willing to pay for something they actually can't get in any other place. Whereas this, I just unless they have some kind of like ace up their sleeve that is like exclusive content, like or something like that. I don't know how they're selling this to the average person.
I guess you would kind of look at it like, because right now you pay for you do have to subscribe to like the Wall Street Journal and New York Times, and I'm just kind of going back to those two.
Sure.
So maybe for those outlets, I guess maybe it would make sense. It's just kind of you aggregate it, you pay one price, you get both. I don't remember exactly what the price is on those two, so I think maybe that part. But for a lot of companies, I guess perhaps they would have some kind of an exclusive arrangement where there's a certain section of their news that would only be available on the Apple app. I don't know. And all that negotiating is still going on. The plan right now, it sounds like, is that they're going to announce this on March 25th, but they don't really have a deal hammered out yet.
Right.
And publishers are obviously hesitant to jump in and say, take 50% of all the profits off of this for your app.
Totally. And I think the reason why I was saying earlier that it comes in an important time for Apple too is because this kind of like free focusing on services comes hot off the tail of having a really poor year for iPhones. And that you can almost just feel it, like, okay, we need to do something else. We need to kick this, because they've been talking about this I've heard rumors about this for years. Same with like the TV subscription that they have been talking about forever.
Well, and that's part of the other idea behind this, or the thought behind this, of where it may go. And again, if you're watching live, let us know if this is something that you would be interested in. I see, Abhishek, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing your name. Will this be available in India? I mean, presumably, yes, but I really don't know. I mean, the service isn't officially announced yet. It's something that they are very, very hard at work on, and they are definitely doing the negotiations right now. But how widespread it would be worldwide, I mean, that's a good question. Is that something that you would want? Maybe that's something that more worldwide would be a really valuable thing. And let us know what you think if you have questions and comments on this. But would you be willing to subscribe for $10 a month for a news only, like a Netflix of news subscription service? And probably maybe it depends a little bit on how much is in there, like how many different outlets you have.
Right. I will say as a reader, like, I do think it is the idea of not having to subscribe to these individual, like, it's kind of insane in the idea like that people will go to these websites and have their own account set up for the specific, for the Wall Street Journal or whatever, and then it's just like, the idea of aggregating that all in one place, if you're that kind of a reader that does that, I mean, that sounds like a good thing overall. But
are there enough people that still get their news in that way that it will matter? I mean, I don't know. I would consider it, but I don't know if I would really take advantage of it enough. Because I peruse so many different sites for different news. Now, the other idea behind this is Apple may possibly also announce their video service. We don't know that, but speculating. They did say in 2019 they're going to announce their video streaming service, which has, I think they've invested over $1 billion in original content for this, but we still haven't really seen a plan. Now, say down the road, probably what would happen is if this Netflix of news comes off, they have their Apple News service, you have the Apple streaming video service, and then you have iTunes and some kind of a bundle where you get all three of those for a price. Well, if depending on how good the television streaming content is, I know they spent a lot on original programming. They brought in a bunch of stars, but is it something that I'm really
They've tried that watch? Before. It never has.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they brought in some bigger level talent, I think, for this one, but we'll have to see, how that all works. But the idea of all of those bundled together, well, maybe that would be something that would be worth it.
I mean, Apple Music is pretty successful as it is. So.
Yeah. Well, that's where we're at right now. So that was kind of the big news, just about the Apple Netflix of news. Let us know what you think about that in the comments, and we'll have an article up at Digital Trends about that. Let's go to some Read 'em and Weep right now, where we do take a look at a bunch of the comments that come through across our various platforms, and we read them. We read them. Sometimes we weep about them. Sometimes we thank you. I don't know. Occasionally that can happen. But no, we read the comments here at Digital Trends. We're live. We love interacting with everyone. So thank you to everyone for joining in with us here too. Let's see. Dax says on YouTube, I can download PDFs from both too. Handy to keep them in PDF format. Oh yeah, talking about subscribing to different digital outlets. So yeah, there are a bunch of them that we can that you can subscribe to. All right, let's do a little bit of Read 'em and Weep. Let's take a look at some of the comments that have come through. Sally Smith regarding LG 55-inch E8 series OLED TV hands-on review. Haha, at 212, you are never waiting for apps to load. Then there is buffering ring with going to YouTube app. Is that what happened?
That must have been going on right at 212. Every time we pull up these things, I'm like, man, I really hope this isn't one of my reviews. It's like, oh, it's a TV. Okay.
It's like, it's Caleb. Survived that one.
Yeah, Caleb, come on.
Yeah, why are you buffering that? That is kind of funny. Actually, Caleb's going to be on the show tomorrow. We're going to be talking about smart televisions and some of that buffering issue. That specific topic we'll be discussing on tomorrow's episode of Digital Trends Live. So Sally, tune back in for that. And I agree. Now I want to watch that because that's hilarious. All right, taking a look through. Let's go ahead and pull up another comment here for Read 'em and Weep as we take a look at what the comments are.
Is it Read 'em and Thank You now?
Read 'em and Thank You.
We're going to rename the segment.
I like that. JD Natown regarding scary, realistic deepfake videos could take fake news to the next level. And yeah, some of the deepfake videos are pretty ridiculous. Wouldn't it be wonderful when politicians have to speak to individuals and are unable to address the masses through media? If you don't hear it yourself, might as well be fake news. I mean, that's great. Are we going back to like whistle stop tours where, I mean, I like that idea, but I don't know if that's really plausible.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see this news, so this kind of creeps me out.
Yeah, some of the
like,
deepfake videos. News. The deepfake videos and news are, I mean, the deepfake videos are pretty ridiculous. If you haven't seen them, we've got clearly this article at Digital Trends that you can take a look at. But it's just rendering these videos where it looks like a real person and it looks like a real person is saying things. Yeah, I mean, and unless you look really close, if you're just casually glancing at it, it looks real.
Can't trust everything you see on the internet, kids.
Yep. Well, JD, best of luck. I don't know how that's going to get resolved, but nonetheless, that's where we're at. All right, moving on through our comments here for Jason Bourne. Wow.
Oh my God.
Jason
What
Bourne.
an honor to have Jason Bourne.
I mean, aren't you supposed to be in hiding right now? All right, this window is like an hourglass. Flip it and it fills with sand for privacy. Don't curtains do the same job? You've just reinvented the square wheel, pal. I like the pal at the end added in there. I don't know what that one is. The window, I mean, just the description alone, I want to click on it. So
I feel like a lot of tech things are like that. Like, aren't you just doing this? You know, but it's but it's probably doing it in a cool way. Or like it's automated or something. You know.
Well, all right, Jason Bourne, best of luck there wherever you're on the run at. Sorry, I know you need to. I'm sure your curtains are closed wherever you are. I don't know where to go with that one. All right, Scott Winteringer. Regarding neural networks have advanced beyond our understanding, and it's terrifying. No, they haven't. Clickbait. Okay, Mr. Android Scott Winteringer. Yeah, I get that. Nope, nothing to see here. Neural networks have not advanced beyond. We are perfectly fine.
You can't fool us, Scott.
Yeah, Scott.
We know.
That's a good name for a robot, though.
It is.
Yeah.
No one would ever think that.
Bow to Scott, your overlord. All right, Scott. Now we know who the robots really are. You've outed yourself. Everybody's outing themselves. All right, M down regarding how 5G will change your smartphone and your life in 2019. Digital Trends. I'll keep all of you in mind when people start getting sick.
Oh,
a threat.
A threat. Well, I mean, that's the concern people have with 5G.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Well, we thank you for keeping us in mind when you're going for your tech news. Thanks for thinking about us throughout the day and clicking on Digital Trends articles. Why ever you're here, we do appreciate it, and we do read the comments. So duly noted, M down. All right. Let's go on to some more news topics here, taking a look at what is trending today. Let's kind of hop onto this. We've got, right now, we'll talk about this Amazon update. So Amazon Skills, if you have an Alexa, sorry if I just set it off, then you know what skills are. That's kind of what everything that Amazon does. Those are what the tasks are that it can do. They call them skills. And previous to now, you had to know a bit of coding to make these things work. I've attempted. I don't know enough coding, and I got tired of trying to do it, and so I quit. Now, though, they've made it easier for me. Amazon Blueprints has launched, and what it does is there's a demonstration video right there. It really simplifies creating skills, and they're trying to encourage people to make skills for themselves, for their businesses, for a number of different things that you can actually make them for tutors, for flashcards, home trivia games. You can do all kinds of things now with this new skill set.
Now, when you say this is simple,
yes,
are we talking like drag and drop, well, according to this is like a trivia thing, right?
Yeah.
Showing here.
Well, I haven't actually tried it yet, but according to the video, it looks very easy. Yeah, like drag and drop, type in what you want it to do. Here's a question answer thing.
So I'm guessing this is kind of like there's some templates basically for like certain, like if you want to create a little trivia thing or
whatever it is that you're going to do. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so they make it a lot simpler. Somebody's done all of the hard programming for you, and then you just kind of go in there and plug in what it is that you want to do. They talk like personal trainers for gyms and fitness studios, so they could come up with their own for people at home to do their curated exercise routines. I mean, that's kind of a cool idea. And then some of the other ones were universities and religious organizations, they said, could make blueprints for like university and spiritual talks blueprints. I guess that's an actual skill that you can get. But create your own kind of things with those and with your own voice. And yeah, it seems like a really cool idea, opening it up like this. And definitely gets them a little bit of a step ahead of Google, I would think. Because I don't know how hard it is to create a Google. I don't even know what they call it. If they call it a skill or what they.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't think they have something like this where you can go and customize. I think that's cool. I think that like opens it up a little bit and gets it into people's more hands, and there's probably more creative things that people can do with Alexa than that's currently available.
Yeah, I think that's true. It'll be fun to see what people do with it, because somebody's going to come up with something ridiculously creative that everybody's going to want. I mean, it's a pretty cool that they're opening it up, I think. So that's Amazon opening it up, the blueprint skills. We got an article at digitaltrends.com. You can go there and take a look if you want to learn how to do it. I'm actually going to try to figure it out later on today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, why not? I want to make a skill. I don't know what the skill will be, but I'm going to make a skill. So you can check that out, digitaltrends.com. Pretty cool. Let's talk about something else with Amazon. They are also in the news because, as you know, they're slowly taking over the world. And they bought Whole Foods a while ago. And when they bought Whole Foods, they went in and actually lowered the prices. I didn't realize there was a nickname for Whole Foods was Whole Paycheck, because it was expensive.
Oh, you've never heard that one, huh?
No, I've never heard that one. I don't know. I know it's expensive, but I didn't realize that. I didn't know the nickname. I like it. And what they've done, they went in, they lowered the price. They want to kind of counteract that. Well, now those prices are going back up, and could be by some significant amounts for certain things. So up to 10 cents to several dollars per item, and up to possibly 500 to even 700 different things. I saw estimates up to 700 different items at Whole Foods, raising the prices. What do you think about this?
I'm wondering, are we back over the original prices now? Because we got the reduction.
Right.
So are we are we back to where it was, or are we over that?
Or if somebody was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, this is lower enough, then now I can go shop at Whole Foods. Yeah, if they're back up over that pricing. I don't know. I think it's something that seems counteractive to what you would normally picture with Amazon, because usually, they're getting the lower prices.
Right. And that's why I think it was always weird, like Whole Foods and Amazon, kind of a weird, they just didn't really go together in the way that, like you're saying, Amazon is like where you find all like the super cheap deals, and then Whole Foods is like this like expensive, high-end grocery store,
right,
where you don't get good deals.
You do not get good deals.
You get your, fancy food.
Maybe they're just going back to that style of branding. They're like, you remember what Whole Foods is. We're going to raise the pricing on it. I guess the pricing across the board for suppliers is going up, and so that's what they're doing. Is just Amazon's passing it on to you, right, and raising the pricing on there. So it's. We'll see where that goes. Taking a look here, Dax says on YouTube, Whole Foods offers a discount for Prime users. I wonder if this is related. I've not tried to use my Prime account there. I actually haven't either. That's a good point. I don't know if that discount would still be there then. So if you're a Prime member,
right,
it doesn't say anything about that as far as what's been released. I think it's just kind of going up all across the board. But
I think this was always a concern for people who when Amazon first got into this, it was just like, is this going to be just, it just
what are they going to do?
Such a huge corporation that it's just like,
yeah.
But I mean, grocery stores are so competitive that's like if they go too far with something like pricing, like there's other grocery stores that people love, and there's other options for like high-end grocery stores. I don't know what you call it.
Well, yeah, I mean Whole Foods, I would say that's premium
grocery
at
stores.
least. I mean, pricing-wise, it always has been.
Yeah, at least in Portland, there's a lot of options for that. You don't need Whole Foods. So
no.
I mean, but
and that's true. Maybe other places there aren't as many options for something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would imagine though in major cities there's something that you can do that's along the same lines. But we'll see where it goes. See what other kinds of things they incentivize. But that was a good point by Dax. I wonder how the Prime membership, how that'll shake out with it. They raise the price. You hear a bunch of crap and they're like, yeah, but if you have a Prime membership, you get 5% off your purchase or something.
Their Prime memberships though, they've been struggling with the amount of money they're leaking through those like the shipping.
Really?
They're just getting killed with the shipping costs. They always have been like that,
Yeah.
Like all the other stuff is like whatever, but that 2-day shipping is just like they're losing so much money on those.
Well, that's part of the reason probably why they're trying to develop their own shipping service so badly, to get through that. Well, we'll see where that goes. So that's Amazon and their Whole Foods prices going up in the news right now. Let's go on to another story here. So this is something I found pretty interesting, and I guess in theory, we probably should have known this was going on, but let's bring this up. It has to do with Netflix. So if you watch Netflix, which is probably the majority of us, and there's probably a good chance, especially if you're watching this show, since we're tech-oriented, that you watched Bandersnatch from Black Mirror. That is the Choose Your Own Adventure one. Did you watch that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I did not.
Well, it's basically what Bandersnatch did is it was an interactive Netflix show. So you're watching it for a little while, and then you get a choice, and you can decide what the character does. And it ended up being, depending on how you worked it out, you could have had thousands of different outcomes and choices.
This is Black Mirror, right?
This is from Black Mirror.
Right.
Yep, it's a Black Mirror one-episode like movie called Bandersnatch, where it's a choose-your-own adventure, and you get to go along with it. Well, there is a researcher, a technology policy researcher at the University College of London named Michael Veal. And he wanted to just see what kind of information Netflix is keeping on you. And because they have the GDPR, he can do a data request, General Data Protection Regulation, that's what Europe has going on, and did a request for it, and they keep everything down to the choices you make in that one episode. Mm-hmm. So you can go through, you get an actual diagram of what you chose when, where. I mean, there's choices that you make about cereal in this thing, and they have all of that.
Cereal?
Yeah, it's one of the main, this is not a spoiler, I'll say, okay, it's a spoiler for like the first 3 minutes. You choose what kind of cereal the character eats. Later on, there's ramifications. But yeah, like every choice that you make has some kind of a ramification later on that will change the outcome in this section or this section. But yeah, what do you think about this, about Netflix keeping this kind of information?
I think what's important about this is the way that this researcher got this information. So basically, without getting too far into the GDPR is this like European data law. Basically has a lot to do with consent and making sure that every time you hand over data to a company, you've clearly given consent and you know exactly what data is being given and what it's being used for. So obviously this doesn't, I'm pretty sure Netflix is all good on this, right? Like they've probably told you ahead of time that your choices will be monitored or whatever. So that's not too surprising, like you said. And then I'm sure like it's pretty easy to see how like, and the next time we do one of these, movies that are like choose your own adventure, we'll know kind of like, well, people didn't really ever choose this option and because we set it up, there's a lot of things they can get from that data, right?
Yeah, I guess I can see that part as far as, and that's kind of what Netflix said too. They're using it from a programming idea of like, okay, people like this, people don't like this. Right. I mean, I guess I do go to the more sinister side of it, not sinister, but the marketing side of it. It's like, this is what people want. This is, and using it, selling that maybe to
advertisers.
To advertisers.
Yeah.
Especially the cereal one. I think that's what I'm looking at. People like sugar buffs. Okay. But yeah, it's something to think about, I guess I just didn't think about it myself. Maybe everybody else is like, oh yeah, of course Netflix is keeping track of exactly what you chose in this. But it's another reminder that companies are taking your data. No matter what you're doing, those decisions you make online are probably being looked at by someone.
Right. And this law is what let this researcher publish this so now we know.
Yeah.
Because Netflix is required by law to tell them, well, here's exactly what we have and how long we're keeping it for and what it's being used for. So
yeah, the researcher Michael Veal did say that he had some other friends who attempted this and they kind of got stymied in the process through Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
He said he thought maybe since he was a technology policy researcher, they were like, yeah, okay, here you go. And he did say there's some specific questions he outlined that he had to ask in order to get through it. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting article, something to think about when it comes to your data online and where it all goes and who's taking a look at it. All right, Luke, thank you so much for coming in here today. This was always so much fun. So going over some of the tech headlines, and we have lots of show left for you. So coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to be joined by Nettie Shalgi from Giro to talk about their product. But right now, we are going to head to our New York studio, where we're going to be joined by Jeremy Kaplan, who's standing by with Pierre Nibar of O Garden. Wow, that looks impressive right there. I already want one of those, and I haven't even heard the interview yet. Let's go ahead and head out there. Hello, Jeremy and Pierre.
And what you're staring at and ogling with such envy is the O Garden. We have Pierre, the founder of the O Garden, to tell us a little bit about what the heck is going on here in our New York studios. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Why don't you tell our viewers what exactly we're looking at here?
Yeah, actually that's interesting to know because it's, seemed a bit strange at first. So this is an indoor garden, which is kind of the best indoor garden that you can find because actually in this tiny stuff you can grow up to 90 veg on the same time. So it means that you harvest daily stuff in a very small garden. So, and it's absolutely automatic.
And if you're wondering about how easy it is to set something like this up, keep in mind that we are here on the 18th floor of an ordinary office building in Manhattan, and Pierre and his colleagues brought this up and set it up, and here we are. So obviously a little bit heavy perhaps, but obviously not unwieldy and fairly straightforward. So we're talking about urban gardening here, right? That's
exactly,
the vision?
exactly. The concept behind that is to try to reach more sustainability for people, to be more autonomous, to open a possibility of saying like, I grow my own veg. And what it means, of course, I make economy because it's cheaper, but as well, I do have a positive impact on Earth because no transportation, no storage of the veg, nothing's needed there. And yeah, we become more autonomous.
I think it's something that resonates with a lot of people in cities like New York. Just carrying into the office, a couple of people said, what is that? I want it, I need it. So I think we all understand the fun of growing your own vegetables, but also the need for something like this.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, yeah, it's an activity which is very funny and
probably very rewarding too.
Yeah.
I have a place, I do a little gardening myself, and I know that the challenges one faces when gardening are myriad. I mean, getting the soil correct, moisture levels, plant foods and everything, it feels kind of overwhelming. And so something like this is kind of an answer to people that are overwhelmed. But
Exact. This is actually one of the main reasons we've built that because we've created, actually this stuff don't look like that, but there is an artificial intelligence on this garden, and it manages everything for us. So you do have the auto watering and the light switching on and off, and everything is regulated by a little computer actually inside. So it means that basically people just have to push the start button and it works,
I don't know if you can see on the camera because we're kind of focused on the top of this, but this is a rotating drum that sits on a base station, which has the motors that run it. And what else is down here in the lower
Yeah,
portion?
of course. I can actually show you. This is the place that we start the babies, So, of course, there is a kind of water tank here to manage all the watering system. And over here, it's the place for baby. We didn't bring here, but just to show you.
Here, can you hold it up to the camera? So that
Yeah, of course. So this is a kind of pod which contains everything. So you have the soil, you have the fertilizer, you have everything the seeds will need to grow. And basically the concept is just taking this stuff, which is actually very clean as well,
Take it. Smells like dirt. What would you expect?
So we just place this stuff on the place here on the tray over there, and it will grow. When it will like something like 3 inch high, you know, we just take it, plug it, just place it on this kind of box.
This is the modules that sit inside.
Exactly. So we just have to place that, close the box, click the box on the wheel. That's it.
And so this is, I don't know if you can tell because it moves very slowly, but this is actually plugged in and running. So this is rotating at a very slow pace to expose the different plants to the
Exactly. And actually there is several reasons. The main one was for the light, but as well for the watering system. And something very interesting is because of the moving, it reproduces the kind of the wind that we can find outside. So it brings fresh air to the plants.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a lot of work behind that, you know.
Kind of genius. And so the other thing that's, I think, pretty fascinating here, you guys just launched this yesterday on Kickstarter?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually it was crazy, you know, we launched it like 20 hours ago, and we raised already up to $150,000 US, you know.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, in 20 hours. It's crazy. Our fund goal was it in 5 minutes.
5 minutes until the fund goal. So there's definitely a demand for this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Pierre, I have to ask you,
Yeah.
This is not the kind of thing that I would have thought of, I have to say. And I've gardened a lot. What inspired you? What got you started? Tell me about you.
Of course. So, actually, this is my fourth company.
Oh, okay.
And before this one, I was on a foundation, and we was working a lot for environment and sensibilization of people for eating healthy, taking care of the planet, nature, etc. And in this foundation, like many people was requesting, we want to have something on the city that we can grow our own veg. Please do something, you know. So I say, okay, I get the challenge, and I start to work on this stuff, and then it's here.
This looks like the work of not a couple of months, though. You must have been working on this for years.
Yeah, actually, at the beginning, I thought that it was like, in 6 months it will be done, but not at all. No, we spent like 3 years. Right now it's 3 years that we spend just on building that, making some try, be sure it's working well, adjusting many different things to have something that it's just super sweet to use, you know.
So if somebody's interested, they can get it at Kickstarter, search for O Garden.
Yeah. I absolutely go on Kickstarter, search for O Garden, and just right now it's like the best deal ever. So if you want to reserve one, it's really the best deal ever. Like it never happened a such great deal for life.
One of the things that I have to ask you, because we've seen a lot of Kickstarter projects that have struggled. It's a challenge to manufacture things. People get excited by ideas, and then they don't realize building something is actually hard.
Yeah.
How close are you guys to manufacturing? When do you plan on shipping
This is a great point. You have to know that here, this is the 2019 O Garden, but actually we are building O Garden from 2016. So it's almost 3 years now that we are selling product.
Oh, okay.
And actually the production is already running. So we are not at the level of a startup yet. Like we are launching our brand new one, O Garden Smart, but we already sold a lot of O Garden, and we already do have our own factories running, you know.
So people can have faith that if they put money in you, you'll actually deliver the product.
It's like for sure. Actually, there is 700 O Garden that are coming like next month. You know, the new one, so they are already made.
So tell me about the smart part. You said it's got artificial intelligence built into this?
Yeah. This is the reason this one's named O Garden Smart.
O Garden Smart.
Because, we develop an intelligence that will know when it needs to be watering, depending on different factors, and the age of the plant, so how tall they are, so how many water they need, about the light as well. So here, actually, I don't know if we can see well on the screen here, but there is all a program, and basically it manages everything, and you just have to play start, and yeah, we do have a big software behind that.
Okay. Hey, one question I realized I have no idea. Where does the water come from? Do you have to water it yourself, or is there an integrated system?
Yeah, so we do have to fill up the water tank once a week.
Okay.
And then there is a different pump system that will go on and off depending on the time, etc.
Sounds like you thought of everything.
Yeah.
And then you sell kits with the actual plants themselves, right? That you said you showed us the little soil pods.
Exactly. So
and that has seeds directly inside of it.
Exactly. So in fact, we do sell the pod with empty, so you can choose every kind of seeds you want. And we as well have some seeds. Everything we do offer is organic, so the seeds are organic, the soil is organic, the fertilizer is organic. Okay. And this is this stuff that you make economy with that, actually, because you just have to buy this little pod of soil, and you will have a bunch of veg that grow just for the cost of a little pod.
Fantastic. Of course, some things better to plant than others. I had, like I said, I've gardened a lot, and squash, for example, explosive plants, probably not the right thing to grow in something like this. But lettuce seems to work great, broccoli, kale.
Actually, a lot of leafy veg.
Some basil in there, I see.
Yeah, herbs. We do have as well some little fruit like cherry tomatoes, strawberries, and we do have as well dwarf bean, green bean, white bean. So yeah, a lot of things like that.
Well, it's great. Congratulations on the Kickstarter. Congratulations on the O Garden Smart, a great product. Again, you can find it at Kickstarter. And if you're looking for something like this, now is the time to get it, because Kickstarter projects go away and then the cost becomes probably a little bit more. But anyway, very neat stuff. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Jeremy.
We'll be back at Digital Trends Live with lots more cool technology and crazy gadgets like this in just a few minutes. But first, we're going to cut to a quick commercial. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Just referencing that last segment there with Pierre and the O Garden, I have to say that he said they were at about 150 grand. They're actually at 190,000 right now on their Kickstarter campaign. So that is pretty impressive in that short amount of time. Zach said that he wants to get one. Dak says he wants to get one. So very exciting stuff. And it's always fun here with Digital Trends because we are live. We get to talk to some very interesting people and talk about Kickstarter campaigns, especially. Is always fascinating to find out where people came from and how they got to where they are and how they made it successful. Our next guest is exactly one of those people. We're joined now by Netta Shalgi. Excuse me, want to make sure I got that right. Netta Shalgi of Giro. And Netta, hello. Thank you so much.
Nice to meet you, Greg. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Netta, for joining us. So, talking about successful Kickstarter campaigns, you had one of the most successful of all time with your last product. And I want to kind of walk through, I guess, maybe what your inspiration was for getting into this idea of redesigning luggage and where you were, where you got this idea, and then what you designed, and kind of walk through that process. So, where did it all start where you were like, okay, something's wrong with this kind of luggage?
Well, it's interesting because I started my way as industrial designer even before I'm originally from Israel, and everybody in Israel needs to get recruited at some point to the military service. So I started as an Air Force, as a flight cadet. After a year plus, they decided that I cannot fly well enough, and I had to go and find my way through the military service again. I found a very small unit that do a lot of activity abroad and started to travel. And it happened that I broke every single luggage that I had. Since then, with my education as an industrial designer, we talk as a company now, but I realized that it could be better, but we cannot go through the. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. Sorry, I just having a little bit of a connection issue, but it sounds like you came back in now.
Yeah, I'm here. So understanding that if we go through the Israeli path, we're going to get the same result and change product.
So you were traveling so much, and I'm just going to paraphrase just a little bit as we get the connection lined up there. We're taking a look at the video here of the design itself. It's really, really unique how you came about this. I love the idea that you took your industrial design degree and you know what you actually were using and being like, hey, there's got to be a better way to do this, because luggage, I feel like, is one of those things, like so many products, where we're just like, I feel like we're just resigned to, okay, well, that's how it is, and we just don't outthink the fact that these things can change. And so you came up with this concept, and then from there, like, you have this idea, you have the plans, but you have to launch a Kickstarter for it to see if anybody else wants this. What was that process like, taking these plans and then getting that Kickstarter going?
So understanding that we have very complicated.
Sounds like we're still having some connection issues, and I really apologize to Netta. It looks like maybe I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get those resolved or not, but as we are broadcasting live here at Digital Trends, and sometimes these things happen, so maybe we'll try to reconnect there just to get him back on. But to catch you up just a little bit about what the product is, let's see if I'll let the production staff let me know if Netta is back on whenever we're ready to go there. But the main product was this Giro Classic, and that was what the Kickstarter was about. Netta, feel free to jump in if you can hear me at any point, if you can hear what I'm saying, and then we'll go from there. So they launched this Kickstarter campaign. He came up with this really, really original product, and there it is. We're taking another look at that right there, which I have to say, it's very sleek looking. I mean, it looks cool, number one. Maybe if Netta can hear me, let's walk through what it is that makes it so unique. If Netta can actually hear me right now. We don't have him. Hey, Netta?
Sorry. Yeah, it's raining here, and every time it rains, the internet just go bonanza. So
see, why can't we? Yeah, this is where we need somebody to invent something to rain-proof the internet. Where?
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. It's totally fine. So let's talk about what makes this product so unique.
Yeah, so we're going, and we realized that the people that we need to take care of are professional travelers. They travel all the time. They go on a plane almost every week, 2 weeks a month. They provide their families, and they cannot have anything stop them from going. So nothing can break, nothing can dysfunction. And if something happened, they need the best result. The first thing that breaks is luggage, or wheels and handle. And that's why we came up with our revolutionary patented wheel design that is basically hubless design. And that reinforces the side of the luggage, go over every terrain, and it's super durable. And having more than 40,000 bags out there, I have to say that it's so far so good. It's been a tremendous way with a lot of people, good people, advisors, factories, material science exploration to get to this kind of product. And after we designed this, basically we went and configured all the little features that we, through research and understanding, conversations with professionals, they will need in their future bag. So merging this with all the distillation of what we thought that people would need, getting everything into one system, basically creating our first generation bag that is durable, it's lightweight, it has 2 compartments for private section for everything that you need, and also office section for everything that you need during your journey, and bundle it all into one bag, created a unique traveling system that is 100% tuned to professional traveling.
Nice. So if you're traveling a lot, this is something that can really, really be a big advantage. And you know, you use your degree and understanding of that, and it looks really cool, I have to say too. Just the design itself looks really amazing. So then from there, you know, you have this design, you get it out there, and your Kickstarter just takes off. I'm taking a look here. I want to make sure I get this right. Was it like 22 times funded? Is that right? Like when you launched your Kickstarter campaign?
Yeah, it funded a lot. We worked very hard. I mean, a lot of people think that you just launch a project and it takes
Still having some connection issues there, which wherever Ned is at, it sounds like having some internet issues. So we'll see if we can get him on here for another time, and we'll actually go into this in depth. But I want to just talk about Giro. So Giro is the company, and the products are really, really cool. And it's somebody using their technical know-how to rethink something that we don't normally rethink, how to make things new. And that's one of the fun things about technology, is how we can use different aspects to improve different aspects of our lives with tech. I mean, this is just a perfect example of redesigning and rethinking things. A couple of the other things on it, just from the tech side, it has USB ports. It's got he's got several different new ones that have come out as well. So highly encourage you to check that out. It's Giro, and thank you to Netta for hopping on here on the show. We just had a little bit of issues there with the hookup, but that's part of what happens when we're broadcasting live. We're broadcasting live to you, to everybody out there who's watching our show right now. Thank you very much for joining us, and we have more coming up. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be joined by our favorite Drew Prindle, our emerging technologies editor, to talk about this brand new way of traveling around the city, and we'll have him in here to talk about that, to talk about basically a different way to look at kind of a Segway-like product, but it's way more than that. It's pretty exciting stuff. So we're going to be right back with that, broadcasting live. We'll talk to you in just a minute with more DT Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. Thank you everyone for joining us wherever you're finding us. We really do appreciate it. One of the fun things on this show, and in particular this episode today, is we're talking about new technology, rethinking things, kind of some of those startups that you always see, and some of those success stories. I'm Greg Nibbler, joined now by our emerging technologies editor, Drew Prindle. Hello, Drew.
How's it going?
Doing well. I gotta say, so Drew gets to check out all kinds of amazing products, and today we're gonna be talking about the Kawano KO1 rideable device. Drew, confession time. Before the show started today, I'm in here early. I may have seen this sitting around the office. One of the fun things about being at a tech office is there's always really cool toys around. And I was like, well, why don't I just hop on this thing and go for a ride?
I take it didn't go well from your tone.
Didn't go as well as I planned. Maybe took a little bit of a spill. Maybe almost took out a cubicle. It didn't work as well as I planned. I hope I didn't break it.
So it sounds like you had a very similar experience to what pretty much everybody else has on this thing for the first minute or two when they try and ride it.
Thank God. All right, so let's take a look here. We have a video of this. This is you unboxing this. So let's walk through. What is this? What are we looking at?
So this is the Kawano KO1 Plus. So this is an evolution of a product that had already existed. We actually got a chance to play with the old one about a year ago. And it was fun, but it wasn't there were a couple little issues here and there. But this is the new and improved version. So they've ironed out all of the kinks. And I guess the best way to describe it is it's kind of like a pogo stick and a Segway. It's like the offspring of a pogo stick and a Segway.
That's a great description.
It's self-balancing, but instead of having two wheels like a Segway does, it just has one.
So it's got one wheel. It's self-balancing.
Self-balancing, sort of. It'll balance itself if you hop off, and it'll hold itself up by driving the wheel backward or forward to keep its center of gravity in a different place.
Okay.
But you do have to balance side to side, and you have to be able to turn it and stuff. So it's definitely there's a bit of a learning curve. It's actually, I would say it's a quite steep learning curve, but it's a very short steep learning curve. So this video that you're watching right now, all these people, they start off looking like newborn baby giraffes. They just can't quite get it. But then it's after a minute of just trying to figure it out and a little bit of coaching, you can see it click. They're just like, oh, I get it now. And all of a sudden they start racing. There's Riley.
There's Riley. That's right about where I fell.
And that's what everybody does. They lift it off the ground. The wheel spins like crazy because it's trying to balance itself, and then you set it back down, and it leaves a nice, big, huge black skid mark on the office carpet.
I didn't do that. That wasn't me.
Good for you. All right.
So I mean, it looks really cool, and actually, the idea of this is pretty fun. So to move forward and backward, you just kind of lean on the pole. It's not like a throttle.
No, it's exactly like a Segway. You lean forward just a little bit, and it'll sense the way that it's being pushed, the way gravity is taking you.
Okay.
And it'll kick in motors to push you forward and make sure that you don't just lean over and fall over.
Yeah.
So if you lean forward, it'll go forward. If you lean back, it'll brake.
Okay.
And to turn, turning's the tricky part, but it's a lot like those self-balancing little hoverboard things.
Yes.
But instead of turning your feet separately, you just kind of slightly step to one side or tilt just a little bit, and it'll kick in and turn for you.
So who is this designed for? Other than just fun, is there?
So I think the idea behind this was it was kind of like one of those last mile vehicles that you hear. It's people talk about that. It's not necessarily your main commuter thing that you drive for 10 or 15 miles to get to work.
Right.
But you do use it to go maybe 1 or 2 miles to get to a bus or a train. And then this thing's small enough that you can hop on, and it doesn't take up a ton of space. It's smaller than a bicycle, and it can go anywhere with you. It's also pretty light, but you can ride it pretty far if you want to. The whole column in the middle, that's all battery.
Oh, wow. So how long is the battery life on this?
It'll go for around 20 to 25 miles, depending on, obviously, your weight, how fast you're riding it, and the terrain that you're on.
That's a long ways.
Yeah.
How fast can this thing go?
Top speed, I'm actually not sure of. I know the old one was, I think it was around 15 to 20 miles per hour. I never got it. I never even got it.
So bad for me to go.
I never even got it that close. I
haven't got it.
I get the speed wobble. So there is a bit of a learning process where you have to figure out. But it's like anything else. With a little bit of practice, you can get good at it, and it's super fun.
Questions that are coming through. We are broadcasting live. Abhishek asks, how much does it weigh?
About 20 pounds, I'd say.
About 20 pounds. Vicky's asking, does it have a brake?
Brakes are kind of just built in. Like I said, you just
fall down? Or?
You just lean back. Just lean back, and it'll automatically slow you down. It's pretty intuitive. But no, there's no a handle or anything that you need to press or twist or anything like that.
For me, it was my wrist. That's how I broke it. So it's designed for the kind of that last bit of commuting.
Yeah.
Like that's what we're going for. So have you used this for that purpose? Like how good is it out on terrain? Can it go over? You
Yeah.
know, we live in the Northwest. It rains a lot here. Can it handle that kind of stuff?
It absolutely can. I haven't taken this new one out for a spin around Portland yet because it's just been so crummy outside. I really don't want to ride it through like giant, 4-inch deep puddles.
Yeah.
But I did ride the older one around town, and it's fantastic. They have shock absorbers built into it, so you're standing on those little platforms on the side. So whenever you hit a bump, it just kind of bounces a little bit. You don't really feel it. It's not like riding a skateboard with like hard wheels. You don't really feel every little nook and cranny in the street. And the other big reason behind that is it has that huge wheel. That's like the biggest thing for any piece of like rideable tech that you have is if it has a giant wheel, it's going to absorb all of those little bumps and shocks in the road, and you're going to be able to go over, I don't know, way bigger cracks. If you're in a town that has like light rail tracks running through the streets, you don't even have to worry about those the same way that you would with a skateboard. You can just blast right over them. So it's really convenient for getting around town.
Tell me a little bit more about this company, Kawano.
They're just a company that makes weird little rideable personal mobility devices. They kind of got their start making those hoverboards back when like the hoverboard
They were
thing.
actually, making the hoverboard.
Yeah, they were one of the companies that jumped on that bandwagon. But unlike a lot of the companies that kind of just like fizzled out and didn't really do anything other than sell, hoverboards that light people's houses on fire, they invested in R&D. They started coming out with new products, and they've got a whole product range now of just weird little mobility devices that are super fun, super innovative, so definitely check them out. They are doing some interesting stuff.
So that's the Kawano KO1. What are they actually, just KO1? Is that what they call
This
it?
is the KO1 Plus.
KO1 Plus.
So yeah, this is the newer version of the existing product.
So how much does something like this run?
It's going to cost about $1,300.
Okay.
Which is, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But compared to most high-end like electric skateboards or a one-wheel or pretty much any like nice rideable gizmo, that's kind of the going price right now for something that's good.
Yeah, and if you're going to do it, you want quality.
Yeah,
you want.
You also don't want it to burn down your house. And
Right.
this thing is this new version is made with nice batteries and components, so you can be pretty certain that it's not just going to light on fire while you're charging it overnight.
Can you show me how to use it where I don't crash it?
Yes, I can. If I can calibrate it again after you ruined it. Right now, it like leans too far forward, so you have to hold the handlebars way out here.
It's like that when I got it. It wasn't like that when I got it. Anyway, there's no video evidence, so we'll never be able to prove anything. It just happens sometimes. If you could fix that, I would love to try it again.
I'll fiddle with it, but yeah. Next time you ride it, let me give you like the tutorial, because after like letting everybody in the office try it out a little bit, I kind of figured out the best way to like coach people.
Yep. This is why I'm not allowed to touch all of the fancy toys that are in the office. All right, so we're talking about the Kawano KO1, and do we have a review up at Digital Trends for that?
We don't have one up yet, but it's going to be up, I believe, over the weekend.
Okay, fantastic. Drew, it's always so much fun to see what you get to check out and what you get to ride.
Coming on here, man.
We did have one last question here. I'll get this one last question in, and then we'll kind of wrap up for the day. How is the build quality?
It's pretty great. It stands up to Greg dropping it on the floor. People have crashed it like crazy, and it's still kicking. It's still doing great. It doesn't feel flimsy at all. It's real heavy, real well built. It's got built-in headlights. It's got shock absorbers. All the materials it's made out of are really robust. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty high-end build quality.
I stress test it, and apparently it still works. So that's a pretty good sign right there. All right, Drew Prindle, Emerging Technologies Editor. Check out the review coming at digitaltrends.com for the Kawano KO1. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. So let's just kind of recap a little bit of what we talked about at the beginning of the day. We talked about Apple News, their new idea of having a Netflix for news. Is that something you would want to subscribe to? We've got an article at Digital Trends just kind of covering that and kind of walking through some of that. We had Pierre Nibar with his O-Garden machine to basically grow your own garden in your living room. It's amazing. You have to check that out. It's really incredible. I want one right now. We had Netta Shalgi. Apologies for a little bit of an issue there with our connection wherever Netta was. I don't know in the world where he was actually at that moment, but check out Giro. They've got some more crowdfunding going on for that. They've got some new products coming out. Pretty amazing stuff from them. And then, of course, Drew Prindle in here talking about the Kawano KO1. Tomorrow on the show, a very big day for Digital Trends Live. We're going to be joined by Guy Kawasaki. Yes, entrepreneur, author, Silicon Valley legend. Guy Kawasaki will be here on Digital Trends. If you have questions for them, write us now. Send us an email or write us on Twitter. Let us know what questions you have for Guy, or just join live tomorrow. We also have Caleb Dennison in here tomorrow. I believe we're doing an unboxing of some fighting robots. Lots of stuff all coming up tomorrow. The way you keep track of that is by hitting subscribe wherever you're watching right now. Hit that subscribe button, that way you get a notification when we go live, and we appreciate everybody who tunes in here every day. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Greg Nibbler, and we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Digital Trends Live.